good paperweight. Ready?
Ready.
Okay, we're gonna use the splice that came with splice and 2 clamps that come with the Sonax adapters to splice those 2 pieces of line together that we just cut apart. Not a lot of room, so I don't know how much you'll be able to see. And the clamps can go either side. I like to put them towards the inside because there is a little bit of stuff over here where it's going to be that it could possibly rub against. You may have noticed I try to keep things away where there might be any rubbing. When they rub together, it's never good. And again, it doesn't have to be super tight. You don't want to cut it from the inside with the barbs. But it does need to be snug enough that it won't just slide off of there. There's not a whole lot of pressure here, so don't overdo it. And then the other hose. Around here where I can get to the clamp. And the hose can go back down into its little nest in there. And you can pull the clamps off. Looks like one of them fell off already, so.
But you planned that, so
you still didn't lose much fluid, so I'm not sure they're necessary. Anyway, you can see the hose down in there, and you'll notice, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's actually a kink in the hose back here. Okay? It's not going to hurt anything. These hoses are super soft, flexible, and all that stuff. And it doesn't require any flow through there. You're just bypassing something that was there. It has several other paths it can take, so it's not going to create back pressure or any problems with anything. Here's something I found recently on mine. If you look down in here, you see this hose clamp, and there's some wires right behind it. These 2 connectors are for your valve timing adjustment. It's only on the 200 horsepower engine, 201. It's not on the older ones, so you don't have to worry about it. But the new ones, you want to be careful that this doesn't ride over next to it where this hose clamp can wear into the wire. If it does, it will give you a P0013 code. And it will do it repeatedly until you get the clamp away from the wire and fix it. And this one looks okay here, but this one back here is awful close. So I think I'm gonna we'll probably use a tie wrap a little later to kind of pull it over this way so that it's not right against that. Now, but any vibration as you're going down the road, bouncing around, it could very easily get over there. And there's also a vacuum hose here. No, excuse me, that's electrical hose here. We don't want to, electrical line here we don't want to get hooked into. I just put a tie wrap in there, bigger tie wrap, to hold this away so that those, I was talking about a while ago, so those clamps can't get too close to the wires over here and possibly rub a hole in them. I just snugged it. There happened to be a little good place here to hook it. There's a little hook there. And if you need to get down in there, you can actually, might be able to just slip that off of there. And it should hold that hose out of there with no problem. Right now I'm just sopping up the stuff we spilled to get into box so we don't make a mess. And we're going to wipe off the bottom here to try to get any of the stuff that's running down so we got a good reference point. A little bit of antifreeze and transmission fluid and what have you that dribbled down, disconnecting, so try to clean it up. This is the little cap that plugs into the fill tube on the transmission. If you notice, it's got these little arms here that latch. So what you have to do, I've got a couple little screwdrivers here that work good, but I have used a piece of heavy, large paper clip. You got to do both sides, and you've got to kind of squeeze them together to get both sides out before you can pop this out of the tube in there.
And that's hanging upside down when you're looking at it, or sideways?
No, it's in just like this.
Okay, it is in.
It's just right in the front of the transmission. There's a little tube, plastic tube that comes out of there, and this is on it. You may see a little red plastic cap. Hang on a second. This is what you'll see in there. Okay. What you do with this is you can use a little screwdriver and the little thing on the side, put it in the bottom and push up just a little bit, and then pry on the little gap there. And it should pop apart if you've done it properly. There, we got it. Okay. This is the safety cap. What happens is, normally the dealership sticks a screwdriver in there and pries it apart. It breaks this little thing on the little pre-scored line that Volkswagen so conveniently put there, and then you have to buy a new one. But it's not necessary because I don't think, because you've got these latches on this thing that make it really hard to pull out of there. You do want to try to be careful when you're taking this cap off that you don't accidentally pull this whole tube out of the transmission. It's only got just little ledges there that are kind of rounded holding it in.
Yeah.
And if you pull this out, then you've got an open hole there, and there's normally dirt and garbage around this that could fall into your transmission pan. It's not a catastrophe because it's going to fall into the fluid, and that fluid has to go up through the filter before it gets to the transmission. But just for information. Handy dandy little transmission filler. It doesn't have to be quite this long. Originally I made it with a short tube, just long enough to fill, because I had a dipstick. I could fill it at the dipstick tube. And then I realized if I made it a little bit longer, I could also fill these. So now that we've got that cap off down there, we just kind of stuff this down in there for the time being. And then we have to go underside to actually insert it into the transmission. You want to try to make sure that the tube has a downward slant through everything. If it's a little too long, just to make sure that it's actually going down so the fluid can run in there. Try not to have any dips in it. Got it?
Give it a go.
I have found that installing these, it takes about 3/10 of a liter to top it off. If I don't have a dipstick, it's hard to creep up on it. So what I do is add half a liter, half a quart, and then when I get it up to temperature, we'll drain the excess. It's a one-shot thing when you do it that way, instead of having to thread this tube down in there several times and trying to get it exactly right and all that.
So how much fluid you putting in?
Huh?
How much fluid are you putting in, you say?
I'm going to add half a quart.
Half a quart.
Yeah.
All right.
It's going to be too much, but it's easier to drain out the excess than it is to add some more later.
Gotcha.